across YouTube. Okay, here we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. And of course, I'm like using this as a mirror because I just came off actually, I just got adjusted.
Fortunate, you did?
I did.
That's exciting.
I know. Fortunate for me, one of my chiropractors walked in right at the end.
And you got adjusted on Tuesday, and I got a great adjustment from you.
Yes.
So awesome. I love it. Well, hey, if you guys are joining us, hit that thumbs up button for us, leave a nice comment, and let others know to come on in and share and subscribe. We are talking today about the woe is me, the sudden diagnoses, this just happened to me, the absence of thinking that you have 30, 40, 50, 60 years of shit that you've been putting into your body or doing or not doing. And then suddenly an event occurs and you're like, I just don't know how that happened. So
I don't know how I got so sick when I've been doing all this stuff that's been making me sick for all this time. So, so I was, it kind of applies across the board to so many different things. I mean, all the way down to, loss of animals and people in our lives. And it's like, after that, I was talking with, and I'm going to call him one of my favorite people on the planet, in case you're listening today, because he's always like, you don't describe it right. I said friend and colleague, but anyway, one of my favorite people on the planet, we're just talking about the other day, and he's like, people come in and they're like, all of a sudden something terrible has happened, disease process. And he's like, why are any of us surprised by this? And I thought that is such a great topic of just like, whoa, what just happened? And it didn't just happen. And I've been telling people over and over and over, actually, I wanted to grab my book, but I've been telling people that, people say, well, what am I supposed to eat? What am I supposed to do? I'm like, okay, Google this, apply to everything, anti-inflammatory diet. Just Google it. Because I could go through the things
you
that you
translucent.
Yeah, I could. I know.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. You hit there's a certain level when you hit that light and it's like,
I know. I go into a ghost.
There you go. That's good right there. Okay. Go ahead.
I think it's because it was trying to focus on me over there. Anyway, but I'm like, okay, wait, what do you mean the stuff I put in my mouth creates inflammation? Like what? And then they'll say like, I started working out, and I'm like, that's awesome. But what are you putting in your body? And I kind of brings to the whole Kellogg situation, which I also wanted to chat about. And you probably know more about that than I do. But it's like, let's stop being like, whoa, my body like just took this crazy left turn. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. And we're creating it. And, people come to us for, all things health, and people are realizing, not everybody realizes that health is really within the chiropractic office. They don't know what they're looking for. They don't know where to find what they're looking for. And then once they get there, they're like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. And this is, and it's like, you can never run ahead of really bad lifestyle choices. You can never run fast enough to escape it all.
We can't outrun the fork. What's on the end of your fork?
That's right. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, and this is also why we've had this conversation multiple times where I make fun of you, not you, Erica. Well, maybe you if you said this, but also me if I said this, and also every one of you listening. When you wake up in the morning and you say, I just slept wrong. No, you didn't just sleep wrong. You have been lifing. You have been lifing wrong. Mm-hmm. And it does happen to the best of us where we wake up and we're like, oh my God, what happened? Mm-hmm. But it is an accumulation of all of the physical, chemical, emotional stressors that we have been exposing ourselves to and not paying attention to that. But then you go, I just slept wrong. No, that's not how it works.
Right. And even like I just put my t-shirt on, or I just picked up a pencil. Like we should be able to, and I know we talked about this weeks ago, like we should be able to go around in our lives and do the things that we want to do. But especially we should be able to go to sleep and wake up well. And we should be able to put our clothes on well. And we shouldn't be injured or feel injured because we've done something like that. We should be able to cough and expectorate things out of our lungs without throwing our backs out. We should be able to, go through our workouts without creating a crick in your neck. You know what I mean? It's like all this stuff that we're hearing on a regular basis. We should be able to get through life. And if you did end up having a tragic sleeping accident, which we talked about before, which is just simply rolling over and throwing something out, that is not from sleeping. That is an accumulation, like Dr. Paula said. And the only real way to make sure that your nervous system is coordinating motion, right, is brain's communicating with the body, is just making sure that you have regular chiropractic care and your body's checked for misalignment, subluxation inside of our world of just lifing. People say, I didn't even do anything. I'm like, that's part of the problem too. Well, I overdid it in a garden. Like, that's part of the problem too. Like, it's just always a balance, counterbalance, pose, counterpose, like in yoga. So
it goes across the scale. I know I was going to comment on that, where when some people are like, well, actually all I did was sit around all day yesterday. Yeah, that can be a problem too. So I think we're so used to thinking of the, what did I do part of how did I get this way, that we neglect the, what am I not doing that got me this way? And, I always say, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I always say too, like when people are like, I don't know what to do, but you also have to know what not to do, in the sense that, like, if you know that you should be exercising and you're not, then get up and take a walk.
Yeah.
If you know that you shouldn't have that donut at 10 o'clock in the morning, then don't. Like, like that's when you're like, well, they said eggs weren't healthy, so I'm going to have a donut instead. That makes zero sense. Like,
we have to stop the
intuitively, you can probably deduce that the egg is probably healthier than the donut, even if they said on the news that the eggs weren't good. So
it's maddening.
We're kind of in rare form today, I think.
I know. Well, it's tough. It's tough because it's so much easier to make really bad decisions. It's more convenient. It's cheaper. Mm-hmm. It takes less thought. It takes way less planning. Just all the things. And it's just easier to not be well. Mm-hmm. And then, but here's the thing. If you want to choose the easy route, that's cool. But don't come to us and say, woe is me. Like, now I'm all of a sudden have blood clots going and my so-and-so. Yeah, just let's stop doing the woe is me and start managing our expectations appropriate to our lifestyle choices, and not be like, I don't know how that happened. You do. But okay, so I had a patient in this morning, and she doesn't get, the dad gets adjusted. The daughter doesn't get adjusted yet. I always use the word yet. And she is home from school today. I think she's 7 or 8 years old, and she was sitting in with dad, and they're playing with the dog. And then she's got this tablet with her, which actually has a beautiful picture on the screen that I talked a little bit about. And, parents, I understand they want to keep their kids occupied. You don't ever have to bring a tablet in here. Your kids can run wild in my office, and it's totally fine. But anyway, I said, oh, do you have the day off of school? And she said, actually, I was sick yesterday. I had a fever, and I feel so much better today. 7 or 8 years old. I feel so much better today because of the medicine. And so it starts really young, and it's to no fault of anybody's except for the media, and the money behind big pharma is driving these messages into the 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. There was a gal yesterday that brought her daughter in, and I don't see new patients last minute. But she desperately needs an adjustment, and she's 8 years old. She's a gymnast. They practice, 2 to 4 hours every single day. She's got this thing going on in her neck, and her mom asks her, do you want to get adjusted? And I'm like, this is not a question for a child to answer.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the question. The only question to answer is for a child to choose is, which table do you want to get adjusted on? Much like you go to the dentist, you don't say, do you want to get your teeth cleaned today? 100% no. Even in the late 4th decade of life, 100% no. No, I don't want to get my teeth cleaned today. Am I going to? Yes. Which table, who am I going to choose for my hygienist
Mm-hmm.
is my only options. I chose that way ahead of time. I'm becoming translucent again. But it's like kids don't make health choices, and they don't get to say whether they're going to get adjusted or not get adjusted. That's not how chiropractic works.
Well, that is, if we think about, again, applying that into multiple situations. So parents will take their kids to the pediatrician, and they do not have a choice for their vaccinations, which have all kinds of toxic chemicals and assault on the nervous system and the immune system. So you take the child to the medical doctor, and you're not saying, honey, do you want to get your 7 vaccines today?
Right.
No, those kids aren't being told that. They are being
No.
forced to get this garbage injected into them. And yet, then, do you want to get adjusted today? I have a little, he's just under 3. He's about 3. And
Yeah.
he's been a patient for like about a year and a half. I took care of his mom when she was pregnant, been taking care of her before she got pregnant. I take care of the 2 kids too. And what's interesting is he comes in, and he's now like, and you've probably had kids like this where they're super fine for a long time, and then they start to get a little riled up, and they're like, I don't wanna. And she's like, no, you need to get down on the table. This is good for you. We're making good things happen in your body. And she forces it. She's not like pinning him down, but she literally crawls under the table onto the floor so he can see her through the face hole. I mean, but
that happens a lot. Whatever it takes.
She does what she needs to do to make sure that her child gets this. Because, and she started bringing her other son to me because he was having chronic ear infections, and it was antibiotic after antibiotic, which she kind of did that minimally, and she was trying to manage it as much natural as she could. And she just couldn't. And so she started bringing him here, and this is the only place she comes. And she's like, yeah, we don't go to the pediatrician anymore. And I'm like, right, because you kept your kids out of the system.
Well, and also it depends on what you're really looking for. Like, if you're not looking for drugs, radiation, and surgery to come up to answer your questions, your health questions, then don't go to the place that does drugs, radiation, and surgery.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for real health, then you got to find the place that is really focused on health. So anyway, you're probably reading Kenny's messages. So hi, Kenny. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
I was just asking if he is tracking his sleep patterns.
I was going to say, you're probably waking up in the wrong part of your sleep cycle, which will make you feel really terrible. So sleep always goes in cycles. But also, even if you are falling asleep in 2 minutes, that's awesome that you can take a nap. I wish I could nap more. But, about 20 minutes is about right. Like they say, when you press the snooze and it goes for 9 minutes in the morning, that is a terrible place to wake up inside of. And so if I don't know exactly what the minutes are, but I'm thinking probably 20 to 30 minutes is when you go down into a cycle and you're coming up the other side. So if you're sleeping like 2 hours, I literally would love to be knocked out for 2 days. That's what I really feel like I need at this point. But if you're probably waking up in the wrong part of the sleep cycle, and it may be dehydration too. That is the 2 things that make us really feel like crap in general. So look into that. Maybe skip the nap. See if you can go to sleep a little bit earlier. And I think you work nights. Am I right? I don't know what your schedule is, but
he's not currently.
Okay. So they say the more sleep that you get ahead of midnight is really where the magic is. Like and I'm always pushing the limits there. But if you start to go to sleep, like if you got 6 hours of sleep and it occurred from 10 p.m. till 4 a.m. is going to be better than midnight to 6 a.m. Like it's that those 2 hours you're getting is like gold. It's weight in gold.
Yeah, and it has to do with your circadian rhythms. And there's a thing in sleep called sleep latency. So it's how quickly or slowly you fall asleep. And actually, when you say, "Oh, I'm out as soon as my head hits the pillow," that's just as bad as if you lay in bed for 20 minutes.
Right.
So the sleep latency should be somewhere like 7 to 10 minutes. But yeah, if you fall asleep super fast, that can also be some insight that that there's
just exhausted, probably adrenals, like all burning on both ends.
And I can't nap. Like if I lay down for a nap, I need to go out for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, which we know is not a nap. But like yesterday, I was feeling it. I was like, I needed to lay down and sleep. And usually when that happens, I know something is not right inside my body. So I laid down. I didn't necessarily have time to actually take a nap and sleep, but I just laid down and I closed my eyes a little bit, and I had the TV on, but I just tried to like lay as low as possible. But yeah, so it's paying attention to things like that. So
yeah, that's great. I also know it's funny because patients will come in and they're like, I knew I needed an adjustment because my sleep's disrupted again. And they've been under care for so long that it's like one of the initial signals for their body is that they have this kind of like frenzied energy going on inside at a cellular level, which is always the nervous system, but is often because it's been, too long between adjustments, or it's a really, really common side effect of regular chiropractic care is getting good rest. So I wanted to just share a story. We don't really have a principle to go into, but I wanted to share a story.
We have a whole list of other stuff.
We do. I know. And even starting back at principle number 1 too. But I was seeing this patient. She's been under care for at least 7 or 8 years at this point. She has a job. She works in the visual, in like eye doctor field. She's an optician, I think, where she does the actual glasses and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So if I'm awake for a 7 to 10, talking about them, that means I'm not getting to sleep very well. So anyway, she's usually in every other week, and she has been so regularly since her initial phase of care. All is going really well. And then all of a sudden she did a little bit of travel and she ended up with sciatic nerve pain. I think she was in the car for long hours or something. I can't exactly remember how her story went. So she takes 7 or 8 weeks off of care, and I can see it when my charts come up for people on my screens. It gives me a whole year of care. So I can see 52 weeks, and green means once. I can't remember. It's like 3 times a week is red. And I can't remember what 2 times a week is. So anyway, I can see their visit regularity, and I can see everything's good. Every 2 weeks. And then a long 2-month break of care. She comes in last week and she's like, oh, I've been doing PT 3 times a week for the sciatic nerve pain. It's helped a little bit. I know it's helped.
It blows my mind.
I know. It's helped a little bit. I still have this going on. Like it started working, then it stopped working. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not sure why we couldn't have all worked together because, bless you. Did it get lost? I hate when
it's kind of stuck there. And okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So she was like, so, I don't know about getting my pelvis adjusted. I'm like, we're going to do what we do, what we've been doing and what's worked. Right. So anyway, 2 months off of care for sciatic nerve pain, which does blow my mind as well. 2 adjustments and everything's all clear. So she comes in this week. She's like, oh, I feel so amazing after the last adjustment.
Like, shocker. What do you expect? What do you, and why did she not come here first?
So I'm like, what am I doing that is not getting this message across? Because I can take accountability that I haven't educated enough. But
100%.
it's so crazy because they'll do 3 times a week for 8 weeks of PT. Nothing's changing, nothing's happening. What I do love about PT is that it holds them accountable to moving their bodies. That's what I really love about it, is like, okay, awesome. Go see the PT 3 times a week. Get your behind adjusted. Get your ass in here and get adjusted. Also. So anyway, I was like, wow.
Well,
chiropractic stuff works.
Crazy town. Well, and that whole like, when they go to PT, here's what I and I worked in PT for 5 years before I became a chiropractor. So I am a firm belief that if we can bring those two disciplines together, we can really maximize somebody's expression. But we can't do it. You can't just do the PT without the chiropractic. And when you're doing the chiropractic, you need some level of movement and strengthening and all of that. The problem becomes, how many times have you seen a patient come in and they're like, okay, they're having this flare up, something they've had before. And then they say, yeah, I went to physical therapy. Did it work or did it help? Yeah, it helped for a little bit. Okay, what happened after? Well, I, went on about my life. Okay, did they tell you some things that you needed to be doing after PT? And they're like, well, yeah, they gave me some home exercises. Did you do them? No. Okay, so
then why are we like, woe is me?
Woe is me, right? Exactly. And I'm like, what level of, okay, you go to physical therapy,
together,
you work on flexibility, strengthening, balance, coordination, all the things, and then you leave and you go, I'm all good. Like, it doesn't work that way.
No,
you have to, this is about, and if you spend 8 weeks in PT, you should take full advantage of that being your kickstart, your boost, whatever it is, to create that habit for you. So you do go, you continue that path to maintain and continue to build the strength, flexibility, coordination, and everything that's going to help prevent you from waking up with a kink in your neck and then going, I just slept wrong.
I know, I just had a tragic sleeping accident. I yawned too hard.
I yawned too hard, yeah. And just on this for Kenny. So what I was saying, that sleep latency, 7 to 10 minutes is that's your healthy sleep latency, maybe 15 tops. Meaning when you lay down to go to sleep, you should fall asleep within 7 to 10 minutes. That's about average. If it's much more than that, like I said, 15 would be tops. If it's 20, there's a problem. If it's less than that, if you put your head on the pillow and boom, you're out, that's also an issue with your sleep. Like, you're just exhausted. Your brain is exhausted. Your body, your nervous system is exhausted. And it just like knocked you out. So, and exhaustion can be a sign for, so you'll fall asleep super fast. And then maybe you have that 3 a.m. wake up and now you can't get back to sleep. And that's usually a sign of your adrenals are firing when they shouldn't. They fire cortisol at 3 a.m. They're like, hey, let's have a party. And then it takes about 2 hours for that hormone to leave your system. And that's about when you get your best sleep, is when you finally fall asleep at 6 a.m. again, right? So
yeah, it's so interesting because people, I mean, you can sometimes even set the clock to people waking up. They're like, gosh, it's like, I look at my clock and it's 2:10 and it's 2:12 and it's 2:15 and it's 2:05 and it's 3 o'clock. Like, adrenal. Like, it's so, and there's a lot of other reasons too, but it's just burning the candle at both ends. And me too. So it's not like we're perfect about all of this either. So anyway, yeah.
And as I said, even yesterday, I was feeling exhausted. I went to sleep the night before. I think I was lights out at 9, which I know that 9 o'clock, I've been exhausted. I had a really stressful couple of weeks with accounting. Erica knows that story. Won't even go into it, but it was really, really stressful. And I think my body is paying for that now. So I was lights out at 9. I fell asleep pretty decently. I was up I had that 2:30 wake up, could not get back to sleep. And what do? I turn the TV on because I do try to make myself just lie there and relax and meditate and breathe. And then at a certain point, I'm just like, screw it. I'm tired of laying here, and I turn on the TV and I watch some YouTube or something. So I knew that I was going to be paying the price yesterday, which is what I was telling you. I was exhausted all day. So it does, you have to, like, we're not perfect. Like we are still trying to figure out all the things. And with menopause and all those crazy things, that plays an even bigger role for us as women with our sleep patterns. So, and yeah.
If I have dinner and sit down to watch a movie, I'll have to rewatch the movie at some point. So, okay. So I am not at all a TV watcher, like not at all. I have the ability to watch TV. I have a TV, but I don't have like I only have Netflix now. I used to only have Hulu, but I only have Netflix. But I can tell you, Kenny, when you talk about this, the TV, the vibration of the TV will literally lower the vibration of your entire being. And so if you've just eaten and your body's working on food just in general, and then you sit down in front of a TV, like I sit down in front of the TV if I'm trying to take a nap, because I almost instantaneously go to sleep. So it just depends on how you want to spend your time. Like if you decide not to like go have dinner and then go for a walk for 20 minutes first, you're just gonna, it's just the vibration of it. So it can, and really slow everything down. So yeah, it's life is constantly a thing. Oh, I have a TV, but I don't actually have it turned on in years. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I'm pretty much watching everything on YouTube and yeah.
Actually, you know what I'm really loving, and I am not going to ever get political, but some of those political, like the different things going on politics, they are all YouTubeable the next day at 1.5.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not going to spend any time listening or watching right now, but I wake up in the morning, put it on 1.5 speed and listen to, so that I am getting in on current events.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I love the fact that YouTube goes 1.5 speed. So
yeah, absolutely. Then I do the same thing. I'm like, and I do that too with, even just like with education. So in the morning, I'll watch about 10 minutes of the news to get the weather and like the business report. And then I turn on YouTube and I'll put on, what do I want to learn today? And sometimes I watch a video about YouTube. Sometimes I watch a video about women's health or exercise, and I'll put that on 1 or 2 speed, or 1.5 speed. And then I learn something while I'm getting ready. So I love it for that aspect. But, also I think like learning and mindset when we're talking about TV is like, okay, sometimes I just want to dumb out too, and watch something stupid and laugh when I'm watching for the 3rd time now is How I Met Your Mother. It's so great. And it's on Netflix and it's 30 minutes and I can watch an episode and go to bed and it's lighthearted and funny. But then also, utilizing that time, like don't always have like something negative on, utilize that time. Are you learning something? Are you watching something uplifting or positive? Is it in the background, or are you just sitting in front of it, watching it? Mm-hmm. I think we have to be really mindful of how we consume that kind of content so that we're not getting sucked in by it either. Because that can, the vibration of the TV alone, but then what is coming out of the TV, is it news? Is it negative? Is it, are you watching? When Hannah was a baby, she was literally like 2-3 months old. I was at my mom's, I was changing her diaper, and my mom insisted on watching the show 24. Do you guys remember that show with, I forgot his name, but it's so violent. Jack, what's his name? Oh my gosh. And it was it won awards and everything, but it's so violent. And I just can't watch stuff like that. And I said, hang on, Mom, before you turn it on, let me change her diaper. I was in the middle of changing her diaper. Let me change her diaper. Kevin Sutherland. Yeah. Kiefer. Let me change her diaper. And then I'll go in the other room and turn on the TV in there. And she didn't. She turned it on And just then Hannah craned her head. She's 2.5, 3 months old, craned her head, looked at the TV just as Jack, the main character, put a bullet through somebody's head. I was so mad. I was like, what did you just do to my child? I was like, I yelled, I go, turn that. I can't believe you did that. Like, for me, it was traumatic for me. And then for her, I'm like, I don't know how that affected her. So
yeah, and it does affect us. And,
yeah,
and a lot of people don't realize what is happening. But if you turn on anything and then you sit and you turn off your conscious mind and you just it's literally like taking your conscious mind and taking this off and then just letting things just drop in and become programs, truly.
Yeah.
Programs.
And that
some of it's fun, lighthearted stuff is super fun and healthy and that, but anyway.
Well, what was the, what's his name? Oh gosh, years ago. And he cured he have cancer?
Yeah. Oh my God.
And he watched all the comedies.
Yeah. I was just thinking about him. Not Mendelssohn. What is his name? It's like laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all he did was watch comedy. Norman Cousins.
Yeah.
Man who cured himself with laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's curing, can you imagine I mean, just the effects that we're having and the nervous system. So one of my biggest issues with watching movies is that I don't have much of a separation of like what's really happening to me and what's the character on the screen. And I watch my stress hormones go up. Oh my gosh, you guys, I went and watched Maverick because I freaking love planes and fighter planes and all that. And for 2 days, I thought I did something amazing. Like that's the feeling in my body was I did the amazing things that they were doing there in the world, right? It's literally like our physiology is affected. It doesn't know what's real and what's not real. And we can take that and use that to our benefit or not. So,
and I think that's really an interesting point is that you can feel yourself when something's written really well and you feel yourself living it and having the thoughts about, wow, those sort of like just wow moments and thinking about the characters and the inspiration from it. And that goes both ways, right? It can be like, oh my God, I can't believe that person got killed. And, somebody told me don't ever get into, it's Game of Thrones. They're like, oh, your favorite character will die in the next episode. Don't worry. But I don't like shows like that anyway. So anyway.
Happened to any of it.
So we're at 1:34. I know you have to get a jump, so you're heading out of town. Is there any parting thoughts you want to leave us with?
Not really. It just kind of, circling all the way back to the fact that when you're living a lifestyle that is disease promoting, let's just not be surprised when there's a disease that shows up. And when you're living a lifestyle that's health promoting, you're going to be the one, as we brought up a lot, you're going to be the one at your grandchildren's weddings, still out on the dance floor, and a patient of mine came in, it was a few years ago, but his reason for entering under care was, I want my health expectancy to match my life expectancy. And that's an awesome goal. And it's a real concern these days is how long will my health expectancy last into the years of my life?
That's beautiful. I love it. Yeah. And that's, when you're thinking, these are conversations for you to also have with your loved ones and that they need to hear the messages. We all need to hear the messages. Your loved ones need to hear the messages. Some people don't know or don't pay attention. Somebody will come up, they're like, oh my God, I don't know how that happened. They just were diagnosed with cancer. They were perfectly healthy. And then sometimes I'll go, oh wow, they didn't have any health issues. Well, they were diabetic, but they were on medication for that. And they had high blood pressure, but they were on medication for that. And they were on this, but they were on medication for that. That's not how it works at all. You're not perfectly healthy when you get those diagnoses. Clearly something is wrong. Yep. So, use those stories to help you get into a better position. And like you said, you're patient. I want my health span to match my lifespan. It's beautiful, beautiful words, and a great goal for every single one of you to set. So yeah. So I love it. All right, you guys. Well, we will be back next Thursday right here with Chiropractic is Sexy. Don't forget to share, like, hit the thumbs up button for us, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.